Perfect. So, first of all, welcome everyone. As I mentioned before, I don't really like monologues. Please interrupt or speak your mind whenever you need it or whenever you like. I would be really appreciating that. Thanks for QE Community, QA Community of Amsterdam, albelli, and Testinium for the stage to me. I will be trying to talking about anatomy of quality today. And I have put some hashtags if you like to tweet on that. I already has tweeted something. You can just take a screenshot or whatever you like and speak your mind over there. We can continue to discuss after the event. So today I will be talking about what I'm collecting for over years, and I will be trying to navigate some of the volunteers with a hands-on session and trying to show what I'm talking and thinking about throughout the session. So I guess we can have 1 hour, around 1 hour of talking, and then we can go for 1 hour around hands-on session. I don't know if it is sounding good, Saj, and we can maybe put some 5 minutes of coffee break. Yeah, let's start. By the way, Saj, can you please send this collaboration link to the chat so anyone who likes can get into the board and try to contribute or just contribute. Yes, thank you. So I will just, this is not a usual presentation of something like, sorry. Do you guys still seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. This is great. Okay. So I already see people are coming in. So this is not an ordinary presentation, but I'm trying to be, I like this way better because I don't like static presentation slides. Yeah, please don't move things around. Just I will mention why I just gave the right to people to edit. Here, I put some places, containers that you can ask questions in the parking lot, provide feedback, notes, comments, anything. We will be going through this in every slide, so no worries. Don't be lost on the table around. So let me fix this. Okay, perfect. So let's start with myself. Okay, I'm not going to keep this really long. Tunç, I'm from Turkey. I'm working for QA around now more than 10 years, not around. I'm the enthusiast of process quality. I mostly worked for finance industry. However, during my Turkey career in the consultancy background, I closed the gap a lot and worked for telco, finance, e-commerce, everything nearly, except e-health and cars. I'm currently working at Delivery Hero as a senior QA engineer. I love sports, I love teams, in anything, and I like really easing people's life regarding anything I can help. So before we start, I would like to introduce some definitions, because while I'm talking, I will be talking about concepts, and before telling this, setting this background, it's really hard to understand each other. So the quality, I would like to start with quality. The quality to me is something comparable, quantitative excellence within the same good or service. So what I'm trying to say is, actually, I can quickly jump here and say, you can't compare the quality between an apple and a pear, but you can compare the quality of two apples in the same scale. If any objections, please just take a note, or you can just come in and we can discuss. When it comes to test, it's a runnable set of sequential steps to perform whether the expected result is met or not. So it's something like the blood test, the blood sugar test. Does anyone know when the blood test just revealed? Maybe you can just type in the chat. When the first blood sugar test just found, or the idea. No clue. Ancient Egypt. Okay. I don't think that old, but it is mid-18s, like. Thanks, Mustafa. The answer is mid-18s, 1800s. So I'm just, yeah. The thing is, they tried to, so they revealed something in the blood of the, I guess, corpses. And they recently saw something is breaking human body. And then in mid-1900s, they found the blood sugar. And then they found the tests. So let me put something here. Let's put some blue. So they first found the blood sugar, what is causing the issue. Then they found that they can test it. Yeah. So then they decided to go on and see what should be the range for the harmless sugar. Everything until here above is experiment. So they experimented something and they found the lowest value of 80 and the highest value of 120 in 1945. So what I'm trying to say is it took 200 years to find the test with the experiments. And then they automated this and they introduced the blood strips. I think, if I'm not really forgetting, it's like 1990s. And they automated it. So I just tried to wrap it up here with a story. So after you find these values, it's easy to automate everything. So therefore, these are important for me to set a green zone between us. Okie dokie. So let's start. This anatomy of quality, when I first decided to create this content. By the way, before I start, any questions or any comments up until here? No, I'm assuming no. Should I check here? Okay. By the way, before I start here, I just want to say, if you are newly joined here, there is a link that you can get access to this board. Are there anyone newly joined? Okay, perfect. So let's start the story. I'm not going to make it too long. It's not like it was starting with gas and dust, but I just want to set the ground again. So we have two entities, customer and the bank. So firstly, I'm just going from the bank example because I'm from the finance industry and this is where I'm really strong, and it's everyday's job and everyone is dealing with a bank, I guess, in 2020, right? So it's, I guess, easy to understand. So what is the thing? So this guy's, the business owner, always wants to produce money, profit. If you are talking about what's going on, okay. So the bank just wants to produce money out of money, and the customer has needs like running functions on running transactions, and he wants to keep his money safe. So actually, the bank side wants to maximize profit, and therefore, so even before the technology introduced to finance industry, the banks were there and people were using the banks and running transactions. So what the banks needed is the technology to run the business even in the night and gain or increase the profit. So therefore, they just try to introduce the technology, and they just try to make it within the process. What I'm trying to tell here. So even the simplest transaction, sending money, has a process, even without the technology, right? So they just, yes. So the process starts here and ends here or here. They break down the money sent transaction function into steps to introduce the technology, because if you want to program something, you need some certain steps to program and check and to just make it happen. Because if you make a function, if you distribute a function into process, you can programmatically run it. So the main philosophy of the algorithm. So if you can set an algorithm which is solving a problem, you can introduce a program to run it. Which means that if you increase the autonomy of a process, the business side can make more money out of it. And so I just try to break down here. It's just from my mind. I'm just trying to play the product owner role of my own and try to make this breakdown by myself and put some checks and whatever, really fast and simple. And my question here comes in. How can we make a better quality out of this. So the aim is sending money from customer A to B, or sending money from account A to B. How can we increase the quality within this? Any guesses? Maybe you can also type, or any guesses? Anyone wants to come in? No? Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, this is the point. Okay, make it as fast as possible.
I can jump in if you like. Basically,
yeah, please.
My strategy would be apply a scientific method. So first, I would observe and see how many things fails. Basically, then I would make an assumption that okay, if we tweak that and that, and that, then it will reduce the number. Then I will repeat the process, and basically this way I have repeatable actions that I can execute, and I can make an assumptions. And if my assumptions are correct and my changes basically change to the code are right, then I can repeat those scenarios again, and that will lead to higher quality basically when we have reduced amount of errors over the time. And yeah, that's probably a definition of quality, less errors over the time. I hope I explained myself clear.
Yeah, I got it perfectly, and hopefully everyone does. Thank you for your contribution. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to find the chat screen. If my chat screen lost. Saj, can you just ping something on the chat?
Sure.
Okay, I lost it. Oops. Yeah,
I don't see any new messages.
Found it. Yeah, thanks. So actually, there are, I mean, function. So yes, we received an answer regarding function. We received an answer regarding if it is working and if it is fast enough. So these are perfect points. But there is one thing I want to mention, which is going to complete everything all. Sorry, yes. Whoa, my post-it is lost. Where is my post-it? There should have been a post-it here. Okay, so I can put it again, no problem. Here, we will make it bigger, and I will add something like without editing the process, you cannot be able to increase the quality. On the hands-on session, when I remove this sensor, we will understand better. However, let me try to quickly tell what I'm thinking of. So without improving check customer method. So how can we check a customer? One way I can tell, if you are making this transaction in the branch of the bank, the bank clerk would just go and check your identity, right? Or if you are using your mobile phone, your password or SMS will check your identity. So what can be improved. So let's say that from the beginning of the bank business, they only had the bank clerk, right? The employee within the bank. He was checking the identity of the person, and he was checking the balance. Now everything is processed out and everything is running in autonomy, which is increasing the quality of the work. So in every step, there is something which can be improved within itself and within the process. So I will come here. Therefore, how can we relate to this? Here again, what I've told before, you can just compare the quality of apples to apples or pears to pears. If this versus cannot be answered by quality, yes, it can be, actually, I'm sorry, but then it is not the quality, or it is something else that needs to be answered. If the customer wants apple or pear, that's another question. For software quality, what I think is, I will be answering that, or someone has joined newly and is not muted. So what I'm trying to say is, what is coming out of this process should be compared with the old process. If you are in a team which is producing a software, you need to be after getting better from your previous release. So in every release, you need to aim a better quality, which is getting through this process. I will come to that later. So to enable this quality check, there are three things we need to understand. The aspects of quality. Before I start here, any questions, any comments up until here? No? Yeah. Okay, then I'm moving on. Just need some. Okay. So the three aspects of the quality, as we mentioned briefly previously, we have the process, we have the infrastructural quality, and we have the functional quality. And nowadays, thanks to test automation, the popularity of the test automation, companies strictly invest on their functional quality. Because everyone thinks that if they test automatically and fastly over this process, their quality would go higher or their quality will increase. But the focus is wrong. The thing is, you have three things to do better or to take in consideration. What I'm trying to say, let's say that you have a process, something like this within your group. If your development process, by the way, I need to mention something. I built this process line with a friend of mine, whose name is Berk and working in Turkcell in Turkey. We call this progressive development way. or process. So you need to build a process which is progressively getting better within self, because it is going to collect process enhancement and value enhancement for you. I will come to this point, but I need to explain this tree. So you need to build a process quality, and I just put those post-its here in every field just because they are as an example. We all know that testing is a context-dependent thing, and you may need different metrics, but these are really common metrics that is just I wanted to indicate here. So we need to understand that we need to manage. So this is, so actually we can put something here. Sorry. Let's give a color. We can call this as test management. What I believe is, if you want to run a proper test management, you need to have control over these three topics. You need to have an understanding and a roadmap regarding infrastructure quality, which means that you need to understand that the environment of your software, which is running in, what I'm trying to say is, so you need to understand that your static code, the lines of code needs to improve regarding quality. Your machines that maintains the code need some level of quality, readability, maintainability, everything should be within the calculation, within your management. You need to understand that the team's process is really critical and vital to control. Everything getting out of this pipeline. This is just an example. Again, we just put it as a standard thing. You can understand that you need to build for your own, for your team's own sake, and it can depend, it can change. And actually, there is one more topic here which is affecting this, is the software integrity level. I will come to that in 10 minutes, I believe. So you need to decide how can you manage your process quality. And lastly, and most famously, there is function quality, which is going to consider the performance under load, your function succession rate, what's your failure rate, and what's your test coverage. Everything regarding testing, even manually, should be in this. You should be taking into account under this. So again, why I needed to create this content, because nearly every team is concentrating on test automation and how to test better. But again, the output of your release should be compared to your previous release. That's why you need to keep your management on these all three topics. Any questions, any comments, any collaboration? This is going really monologue. I would like to discuss more.
Is it so? If I want to repeat what you say, you're saying quality is not just testing or automated testing, but you want us to compare our current release to our previous release. Did I get that correctly?
Yes, actually, so if you want to understand if your quality is increasing or not, you need to keep metrics. You need to define metrics on your own team, like this metrics I'm talking about, and compare with your previous release. So if you are increasing in numbers or metrics, that means you're evolving.
Quick question.
Yes,
what
please.
if team is not using terms release in general, if it's like a continuous release, if we don't basically distinguish between one version of software and release of another version of software, and basically it's day-to-day thing, people push to production, whatever, which I'm
Yes.
asking because it's reality of my team.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess you have, I mean, even if you are deploying continuously, you still have something to differentiate, isn't it? Just please correct me. So everything has a release version or a tag or something to differentiate from the previous one, right?
Yes, obviously, but imagine a different situation. You cannot, you have not one system, but multiple systems. Imagine 20 systems. And on the same day, you release like 80 different systems or 15 different systems. And basically, there is no way to track down which thing actually broke something, because it's a combination of multiple applications. And if you change something on application A, and you run test against A, for example, it can mean that on application Z you have some problems, and that wasn't covered, for example, for test. I hope I'm explaining myself right. So yeah, there is no basically distinguishing between, no way to efficiently distinguish between different releases to production.
Perfect. So again, there is something. It's apples to apples. I can understand. So actually, this is going to be better. Do you mind if you can just draw really quickly and easily what you are thinking? Like you can just put something. Are you on the board, by the way?
Yes, but to be honest, I'm struggling with how to do that. I can explain that, but how to drive it?
Navigate. So let's say this is your component A, right?
Yes.
And this is done. Component B. I will just draw to you.
Yeah, of course.
So this is component C, right? And these are all like integrated. Am I correct?
Yeah, but not that
not
simple,
all,
unfortunately. Imagine that, how to put it better? Imagine a situation when you have like 3 components that you are responsible for, or your team is responsible for, but there is n components that are basically using your components, and you unable to track all the actions, like in how to put it better to financial world. Imagine a transaction of like money transactions, and there is like one processor that processes this all transactions, and then you have multiple usage of this. There is a mobile transfer, like a mobile basically payments and everything, not even mobile payments, but mobile related payments. Then you have like bank transfers. Then you have like in-store payments, and you also have whatever, online payments. And you're responsible only for a core of this payment system. And you change something inside of your system that affects of one of the systems that you are not responsible of or even aware of.
So we can put it this way. So let's say that this is your world. And these are your components, which are under your responsibility. Am I correct?
Yeah.
And these are all integrated. And there are also other components which are from a different squad and totally you are not really aware of it.
Let's make it harder. They're not even from a different squad. They're from a different bank.
Okay. So
a different entity. Yes.
Bank A. This is, let's say, even customer, not customer. How can we say? Let's say that, okay. Bank B. It's easier.
To elaborate a little bit more, just to what I'm trying to ask and say, it's imagine an environment that is changing so rapidly that some feedback can arrive too late. So you make some changes and you do another change, and another change in the system, but you only get feedback about your first changes couple of days later because of the bureaucracy or because someone was not using this system over weekends or whatever. My point is, like, in really dynamic changing environment, it's quite hard to track which change broke something for someone somewhere else. If it's your own systems, then it's easy. But if it's more complex environment, then it's going to be a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, even they can't just go down, right? You don't have control. Isn't it? They can just black out and you lost control over there, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, again, so this is, firstly, this is not in corporate level. I'm thinking of squad level. So even within your component A, you might have like 4 squads running, right? Even for component B, there can be 5 squads which is developing it. And there can be some other integrations. So what you need to have regarding your quality management, you need to first, the first thing is, I need to move here, or we can park this question. When we come to here, we can answer. What you need to solve is the risk assessment. Okay, and then you can take it under control. This is a large-scale problem. Let's park this problem. I will copy this to here. And we can try to answer when we come to this point of the presentation. Is it cool?
Can I say, I don't understand the question itself, or I don't understand the problem you and Dennis are trying to discuss.
Okay, he's trying to tell that it is not so easy to just control the quality. Dennis, please just correct me if I'm wrong. He is saying that he's responsible from component A and just trying to manage this structure is not going to help him to increase the quality, because he's going to experience some other problems with other components and outside integrations.
Yeah, my concern is about comparing apples to apples and so on. So basically, we need to have a state of software to be able to compare one version of this software to another version of this software. And what I'm saying that is in my reality, it's not always possible to track all the components. That's my concern.
Yes. So I will try to come on to that in here in detail. Okay. We can deep dive to that. That's okay. I will have some more minutes to tell, then we will come to that point. Okay, I'm carrying on. Okay, so the main point I'm trying to tell is, yes, comparing apples to apples, comparing your output to your previous output. Okay, so the confusing thing here then is this popular triangle. This is the importance of process quality here, what I'm talking about. Because, whoa, we are pink. Because while you are trying to get better in engineering part here, the business side wants to increase the income. Therefore, they introduce better ways of doing things to maximize the profit. And then, of course, this popular thing comes here, and wherever you just invest on, it's breaking down the quality of things. This is why it's really important to have a solid testing infrastructure. So if you can communicate by asking questions right here within the backlog, they will be stopping asking questions or making pressure on it. On the other hand, the other part of the communication from business side to the technical side, to the tech teams, there is one thing important. So the topic is related with love mark, being a love mark. Does anyone know what is a love mark? No? Love mark is, let's say, Nike is a like good example of it. If you are thinking of Nike when it comes to sports shoe, it's a love mark. Or there are like, I don't know, I guess any. So just tell me, Saj, what is the brand which is coming up to mind right away when you talk about mobile network in Netherlands?
KPN.
Is it for everyone who is living in Netherlands?
Let's maybe go, let's say mobile phones.
Yes.
I'm sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, we all have a preferred brand, so.
But I mean, who is the leader in the market?
I don't know, but if you ask me what I like, I can give you an answer.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell is the market leader is usually the one who is introducing the function or himself to the market before, like low market barriers, to be able to, like, what I'm trying to say is the human brain is understanding the level of quality by comparing the same thing, right? Apples to apples, pears to pears, oranges to oranges. What I'm trying to tell is when you introduce some function, firstly to the market, what happens? There are no one to compare. So you are the quality barrier of the market. That's why the business side is making or putting some pressure on teams to deliver faster. But when they do that, the quality is shaking, right? the squads are letting QA part over. They don't run any QA to introduce some functions. However, it's really something that there is something really how you can communicate this with business side. I will come to that point. So the main point to come over this honesty and fairness. First, you need to be honest to yourself how much quality level that you need. We are just making transition. You will be understanding that better. And fairness, you should be fair to yourself and find your own process, the possible minimal process that you can continuously put quality output over your process. Any questions? We will be making transition to the hands-on part slowly. There is 5 or 8 minutes of my talking left.
Tunç, I am sorry. I don't understand.
Okay.
The point.
Let's make it clear then. Which part actually? The quality barrier or the honesty and fairness?
So far, my takeaway is quality is not testing.
Yes.
Compare apples to apples.
Yes.
But beyond that, I personally have not understood anything else.
Oh, okay. So let's make it right. So did you get this point?
This is where you and Dennis were talking about
components. Yes.
Yeah, you were talking about whether we should be worried about other components affecting my application's quality.
This point is trying to tell why quality is not just testing and automation. This point, the process, the importance of process, how can I detail it? So if you and your squad doesn't has any standard process to deliver a software in versions, you can't increase your process of function here. Because if you make any changes while you are running the thing, so if you skip writing unit tests while you are delivering the product, you can't make any compare between apples and apples.
Allow me to ask you this.
Yes.
How is this different from a robust continuous delivery pipeline?
It is not.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to tell is you need to define your optimal process to deliver everything, and then set your metrics, and then try to compare your current release with the previous release. But while you are talking about your software's quality, you need to understand that there are 3 main topics to differentiate your quality, to understand, to manage actually, let's say. So you need to understand that there are quality topics around your infrastructure, your process, and your functional quality. The functional quality side, it's already popular and everyone is talking about it. Everyone has their own best practices to run it, their own test automation framework, their own testing methodologies and other stuff. That's the easy part. The infrastructural quality, it's now getting popular with DevOps and other problems. Not problems, other SREs or whatever, like site reliability engineers and DevOps part, and it's getting really popular nowadays. It's tracking the automation trends from behind. But nobody is really focusing on the process. So people in the squads are not really tracking how they are delivering, or so actually this is the retro time, right? So you are trying to tell within the team that you delivered better or not, but without metrics, with gut feelings, let's say. In the retros, nobody is talking about the metrics. They are only telling to each other that if they delivered all tickets, and are there any bugs? But they are not really concentrating on are there anything to enhance within their process with metrics, or if it is possible to start testing even beforehand, or if their definition of done is mature enough. I mean, I'm speaking in generally, but I know that there are like lots of people who are running those sessions also.
Now it's clear. Thank you.
My pleasure. That's why I'm trying to keep this conversation like, how can I say, like dialogues rather than monologues, because people are listening, but when someone asks questions, it's getting more detailed. Please feel free to jump in. I'm just telling my story. I'm just trying to tell the content. What I'm just telling what I observed throughout the my career. So let's move here. How can we make this possible? So it's actually back to basics. Okay. So these 7 green post-its are the 7 principles of testing, nothing more. So while you are building your process, you need to rely on this. You need to consider your process is relying on your test management, and process is relying on these 7, plus the integrity level and risk assessment. I will tell those 2 in a while, but before all of that, what I oftenly do is taking a picture of the current status of the squad or of the vertical of any team. So this is the 5 main topics that I'm concentrating on regarding the processes. And I'm trying to evaluate the teams regarding those criteria. This is my way of doing things. You can ask anything here. I can try to be more exploratory. If you can just, I guess Saj is looking in deep. So what I'm trying to understand, what we are doing currently within testing. This is the first initial point that I'm running with the squads. I'm trying to understand how we are digging the test cases, what we are running, what is our test strategy, how can we increase our quality within this, how can we go forward. if there are, what are the test tools and do we need any test tools? How we are managing the test data? What's the strategy behind the test automation? Do we have any risk identification? This is the most important point, because this is also based on the test strategy. I believe the only existence reason of QA is there because we are the guys who are managing the risk. So it's really important to understand the risk level of the product. And in the same line with it, you need to understand what level of integrity of software do you need. So this is, let's start with the integrity level. This is based on the standard. This is free, you can find on the net. So you need to understand where your software should be relying on. This software integrity level should be decided because you need to understand how much you need to invest or how much you need to increase or get better on your testing, or how can you how you should set your test strategy. And lastly, this is the risk assessment. You need to understand what is the risk level of your components. So here, Dennis, where is the park lot? Perfect. Okay. Dennis, is that you? No. This is Saj, I believe. No?
No,
I think that's what we discussed. And yeah, sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. It's from me. It's from me. I'm both.
Okay.
So yeah,
to concentrate on the Apple side of things, you need to be able to understand what is the risks over here, and you need to see how much monitoring do you need over here, and this is on the infrastructural level. So again, from I don't know how you are working, or like, are you the manager of some high level 3 or 4 teams, or I don't know your responsibility level. But what I would do if I were you is I would go and divide out the responsibility areas, and I would go and identify how much risk you are having within the same component. And so you can't do anything regarding this quality, but if you can understand when they are blackout, you can put some controls on your software and stop people running functions on your site and warn them. This is what you can do. That's why you need to sketch out all the risks you have and put some solid tests of integration, and then monitor them and take action for your customers.
I'm not sure if that is going to be realistic.
Why?
I say this on, so if I understand you correctly, Dennis, so let me exaggerate this situation. Let's say I am having an application which for whatever reason talks to Facebook, and my release breaks down if Facebook is down. Is this a fair thing to say, Dennis, to exaggerate your problem?
Not exactly. What my point was, it's hard to track some changes. Imagine a situation that it's not a Facebook down, but imagine you release couple of times, and one of those releases break something that you cannot track. So probably it's Facebook not the best example, but something that in the financial world can happen over the weekends, for example. You release a couple of hot fixes over the weekends. Let's model the situation. On Friday, you're in a financial company. You have a problem with your software. Then over the weekends, you make a couple of hot fixes. And on your side, your test is green, everything is okay, all good. On Monday, banks are open again, and one bank somewhere far away in Norway have a problem with your software. How can you track which of your hot fixes was good and which was not, automatically and in an efficient way?
I only have answers with so I only answers for really with monitoring and test automation, I guess. So the concept is the quality, again, the quality of software should be considered with the previous version of the same software. This is it. But this is a technical problem which the engineers must find a way out to monitor and control in a consistent and progressive way. What I would do in your example, I guess I would go for canary deployment. I don't know if you are following that practice. So with canary deployment, you can understand what is breaking up even before production. If you have the chance of shadowing the requests. So by that way, you can understand if your current version and your next release is affecting what better.
Sorry about that. I think I working in a scenario very similar of the Dennis. I don't know. I'm working in an application with many repositories, and each repository, each team is responsible for each repository. So when we have any change in one repository, we will have impact in all application, because we are working in different repositories, and the application is using all repositories. So first of all, I think we need to ensure that the process related to the requirements is well defined, because when you have any change, you need to keep all teams aligned about that. And the second goal, I think the QA team in this case need to work together. The all teams should be involved in all changes related to the all teams to ensure that the quality is great for all teams, because we are working in the same application in the final of the day. And I think the last point is, I think you mentioned the canary deployment, and here we are working with the blue-green deployment, and we are testing in the activity environment, and after we deploy it for the users, and we are having some success with that, because we are getting some problems before to deploy the the release version for the user. So I think it is more related to the process instead to the quality. I don't know. I mean, it's my opinion.
Okay, I kind of lost track. Can you please summarize real quick? Who was talking?
I think it was Paula Rodriguez.
Yes.
Okay, it was all muted for me. Paul, can you please just summarize? Because I kind of lost track while you were talking. In a few sentences.
I think when we have all teams working the same application or in the applications in different points impacting the same application, we need to ensure that the whole process is working well, related to the SCM, related to the alignment between the product managers, the strategies. The whole team should be involved before to make a decision. And sometimes I see the many teams working in different scopes, and when you have one project and different teams working in the same project, we need to ensure that the process is the same, and all teams should be aligned about all things in the project, about the changes, about the SCM. I think, as I said, I think the process is important. Perhaps the problem, we will work in the quality, but the process is not enough to help to increase the quality. And if the QA team is not working together and it's not be aligned about the change or the impact is, I'm working in a change, but the another team is not aware about this change, and I don't say anything about this new change for all the other teams, and the impact. You will have problems. It is a scenario that sometimes we have in the companies, and we need to bring this approach for all levels, for product team, for engineering team, quality assurance team, and the all team should be working together and should be aligned about all changes to avoid some types of the problems that we are talking about in this example.
I mean, yes, for large enterprises, it's really hard to control these release versions. I think that, I mean, within these two verticals of, like, in a large enterprise or a corporate, you should be like, there should be a division and other division. So if you are working in a harmony, there should be a higher level of communication of people, other than like there should be, maybe, I don't know, I didn't. So actually we are also in Delivery Hero, we are also working in a really large entity, and this is all about communication while you are working on multiple repositories and while everyone is working in different parts of the product. It's really hard. Therefore, in our case, engineering managers are making this happen, making this communication with other teams, and they are shaking hands, and the project plan getting documented somewhere, and then they continue. but in your case, then it's really something to like solve in technical way. But what I would do is like trying to put all monitoring possible and trying to navigate to canary deployment. So you need to put a checklist on your infrastructural quality, and you need to put some goals to get to deliver the involvement for that part. We will be coming to that, but we are running out of time, I guess, Saj.
I mean, it is 4:15. We scheduled it until 5 p.m. So it's actually up to everyone else and you.
Okay. So just let me finish this part. As I mentioned before, coming to that point, the most important goal is creating the smallest or like the most optimal delivery pipeline and process, which is delivering the value. Because if your pipeline is delivering technical debt or is delivering something wrong and you don't fix it, it's going to be coming with you. You are just creating value and some trouble for you for future. So coming to that. So while you're setting up the strategy, you need to create goals for 3 of them and rely on a pipeline with this credentials, not credentials, sorry, with this topics. So the main idea of setting up the process should rely on certain things. First, when you create the epic, you need to understand the Q quality person need to understand if it is ready for development, and if there are items that are already established for quality assurance and quality control, and if you have the certain delivery pipeline, and then if you have the time for experiments to evolve all of the quality topics. And the rest is creating the initiatives, which we can do together. This is kind of, I'm done with the concept. We can move on to the hands-on session, Saj, or we can just break for 5 minutes, or I don't know if we have any volunteers, or we can, if people like
volunteer. I'm okay continuing. If someone wants a break, please speak up. Otherwise, we'll assume you're all okay continuing. By the way, maybe you know this already, maybe everyone knows this, but what has helped us in albelli is figuring out something like temperature checks. For example, if to check if you're sick, you check the temperature, and that does not tell you what kind of illness you have, but at least it tells you more about, hey, whether this person is sick or not. So we have many temperature checks, and one of the most efficient checks that we have and we think is useful is how your cycle time, how quickly you're able to get a feature delivered to a customer from the time it was conceptualized. So we try to keep our cycle time as low as possible. And by doing this, by asking, hey, what's your cycle time within our teams, we are able to say, if this team has a stellar continuous delivery pipeline, that means this team must have great automated tests. That means this team should be able to release very quickly and very often. That means this team does not do rollbacks often. It's only keep pushing it forward. So maybe these temperature checks could also be some of the things we could use to get our quality better.
Okay, thanks, Saj. Okay, shall we move on real quickly, or if it is enough, I can delete the sensor now. You can try to create a team, or if people are bored, we can break up. That's all your decision, guys.
So should we do breakout rooms, or what should we do?
I think we can just create a set of volunteers, or we can I can just try to play all the game, and you can be the product owner or product manager, or everyone is invited. We can break out rooms and people can try to, but breakout rooms won't work, I guess, today.
Let's say I can volunteer to be a product owner. Are you looking for different roles?
Yeah, I mean, we can have some developers, or we can have some QAs as a standard squad. We can try to set.
Yeah, I'll be the product owner. Any volunteers for developers?
Or I can try to tell by my own on how to set the things.
Sure. I mean, since there are no volunteers, it's just you and me. If you want to use me, let me know.
Okay. So
I was muted. I also can join. No worries.
Okay. Mute button is.
I
know.
I can be either developer or QE. I want volunteer.
So, Saj, the thing is, I can try to take this. Can you please try to put, it shouldn't be like, I'm not expecting a fully dedicated thing, but can you just please try to create a story for money transaction? Shall I help?
Yes, please. Maybe it's easier for me to say it and you can type it, because I'm typing it and the font is quite small.
Yeah, this is really big. Let me carry out this. So, oops. Okay, it's gone. Okay, what's going on?
It can be any user story related to money, yeah?
Yes.
Cool. And I mean, keeping up with the current events in the world, maybe I will say, as a user, as an investor, I should be able to transfer money to my investment account to buy GameStop shares.
Okay. Are we going political now? As an investor, I would like, can you please repeat?
As an investor, I would like to transfer money to my investment account to buy GameStop shares.
Okay. And you would have some acceptance criteria, right?
Correct. I should be able to transfer money to my account. I should be able to withdraw money from my account. And I should be able to set the type of purchase.
Okay. So, oops. Okay. So I guess we are going to be out of time for this, but let's try to make it happen. So to keep this, so let's say that we are running a bank and we have some kind of process like this, okay? What I need to do is, as a QA now, I need to start testing right over here. As soon as I receive sorry. I receive the backlog item. So this is a backlog item. So what I'm doing is right away. So I'm assuming currently that we have here DOD, the definition of ready and definition of done, completed as a team. Okay. So because, I mean, there are no really such time to create those as a team. And I'm trying to tell what I am doing as a quality guy. Okay. As soon as I receive this, I am running a session which is called 3 Amigos or what if session. So I'm trying to understand if there are anything which is putting out risk for me for the current release, for the current product. And I'm doing that in the test rail. Test rail 3 Amigos session. Asking every possible question, which is, in other words, means that actually I am trying to run the experiment session. Because I'm doing that because I don't want to break the quality level because of the pushed scope. I'm trying to understand what happens if the user is new to me. I don't have any answer for that. Or if the account is in dollar currency. Or I don't know how many types of I don't know how many different types we have within the system currently. Whoa, something okay. So this is what I'm doing. As soon as I receive the ticket, I'm trying to break it down with the developer. So this 3 Amigos session is something where everyone can join, no people limitation, but there are head limitations. We should be the product guy, the QA guy, and the developer or architect, whoever is it. We need to break it down to understand the risk level. So I would like to show how I was running these, but it's not, this only should take up to 1 hour. So I cannot run those. What shall we do? I would like to go for telling those also, but we are out of time for that. Shall we use the next week?
Can we use the volunteers in some way? Can we have, I mean, is your objective to go through the whole flow? So we could do a quick 3 Amigos and then see what next. And
yeah, we can do that. I have, of course, time for more, but I don't know if people. We can run the 3 Amigos. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I volunteer to be the product owner. Or
yeah.
What are you? Or are you the consultant here?
That depends on you. If need, I can be the QA. If we need, if someone wants to be QA, I can be the consultant.
We had Dennis and Bo speaking earlier. Maybe they can pick one and you can watch us.
Yeah.
Well, what would you prefer to do?
Yeah, doesn't matter. Up to you.
I will be QE.
Okay, then I will try to act as developer.
All right, and the product owner?
So lovely developer, you have the control, just set up a quick infrastructure of your code, because the QE will be asking questions to destroy this. So how many types of purchase, how many account types, how many customer types, how many, are there any other transfer methods or whatever?
May I make a suggestion before we start? Maybe all 3 cases is a little bit too much. Let's maybe focus on one case.
Then just tell me what you like, and I can just make it bold.
I would suggest maybe this is a little bit too complicated. Let's make something like I can view my account state. So I can see how much money I have on my account. So really something really simple. So we can make it go a little bit faster.
Is it cool?
Yes.
Oh,
sounds reasonable.
Dogs or balance? I don't know what.
Yeah.
So yeah, this looks simpler. So if I design this function, so it's kind of an interface which allow user to check the balance So first, I think first it's need to have the authentication check. So the user has the user need to log in with the credentials. Then I need to first need to check if the everything with the authentication, the username and password is correct. Then need to authenticate this authenticate the user, then authorize the user. I need to know what's this user, what user ID is, like then what's the right of this user has. So need to identify the user. Yeah, and then if the user has the right to check balance, then we'll call database to get the balance back and represent the value to the user.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, okay, then return and present the value to the user. Yeah, that there will be, it's just a basic process, the basic flow.
Sure.
Of course, that can be more checks, like for the,
for sure.
Yeah, and the currency type or which kind of currency it is. There are some more details, but for this, I think it's just include maybe what I think maybe just include the 3 components. It could be more. So the first is the component is a function which talk to the user. It's a user interface included by front end and the back end. I just called it a user interface. Then there will be authentication component. Then there will be a data access layer, which talk to database. Yeah, that's just my simple idea of this function.
Okay, should I insert something regarding database here?
Data access layer.
Okay.
So it's yeah, it can be a component, but it's more like a layer in backend.
Okay. So our lovely QE knows how the system runs roughly, or in a bird eyes. So now it's time to ask questions to Saj and Bo, I guess.
So just to double check what I'm doing, now I need to present the way how I would test that, right? Or I need to gather more information first.
This is a new item which is which arrived into backlog, and to save our process line.
Okay.
We need
so
to
you expect me first to ask questions?
Yes.
Okay.
And then
so
you will create your, even we will fix our things here, or even we will fix the ticket, or we will try to create tasks which will make the current system ready for this ticket.
Okay, gotcha. So I would also would divide it into high-level objects.
Sure.
And I would ask questions about authentication and authorization. It's, for example, can user have 2 parallel windows open with, and you don't need to detect how many browser windows he has. Is it like a single access or multiple access? I would ask how fast do I need to log out person after he stopped doing things, but just basically label it security, like security questions. Because if we go into details, it's gonna take too much time. second option, it will be like functional question. Do I need to, how do I need to show this information to user in UI? Do I need to be able to switch between currencies? Do I need to show a graph? Do I need to show a date next to the thing? And so on and so on.
Dennis,
So basically,
slow down, I'm writing down.
I'll explain first, and then I will just name it functionality,
okay.
how it actually works. Then I would ask question about the performance. How many people we expect to view this? How many calls per second, per hour do we expect, and so on. And then I would ask for more look and feels, like how the thing should look in the end for UI and for a user. Plus, I probably will ask questions about underlying system and just ask to explain me the structure of backend and front end for that, but it's optional.
Okay, so
basically authentication, or basically security, functionality, and performance. If keep it really high level.
So basically, authentication. Let me write down. Switch between currencies. Can you please repeat anything? UI elements.
Look and feel for UIs, and amount of concurrent users.
I don't get what you are saying by concurrent users, but is it about authentication part?
No, it's how many users are we expect to use this functionality.
Okay, okay.
Do we have 1,000 users or we have 10 million users?
Yeah, maybe make it clear, then it's less separate functional question, non-functional. Right? So
okay. So Saj, the ticket is missing parts regarding the information of authentication, currency information, what fields, and yes, Dennis also mentioned about graphs. Do we need any graphs or any concurrent users?
In the interest of keeping it simple and keeping it real, as a product owner, I will say, gentlemen, what can our MVP be? What do you recommend? I would like this feature to be released yesterday. So what do you propose?
You are truly a product manager. Okay. So for yesterday, I think regarding authentication, it should be something ongoing, right? There shouldn't be any specific thing regarding authentication.
This 3 points were security, functionality, and performance. So what can the MVP for these 3 be? If you tell me that, I can tell you whether it is acceptable or not. This is a question to both Dennis and Bo, I guess.
Yes.
So you make it, make it as simple as possible. If without authentication, but we still need to identify the user. So you need to know which this user pointed to, which row in the database is pointed to. So let's say user identity, maybe.
Okay.
If we leave authentication out.
I will disagree with that. I know this is what you propose, but I think authentication should be part of the minimum viable product.
Okay.
So we're gonna have a simple login form, and then we're gonna have a page which gonna state and basic information about the current stock amount, basically one number. So we're gonna have two screens, right? One screen is a login, and another one is just a page with state of a account.
Correct.
Or balance of the account.
I would think so. Yeah, correct. I agree. And functionality, I agree. Security, I'm okay with only basic authentication. I really don't care if it works on 2 tabs, 3 tabs now. At least 1 tab should work. Performance, since we're going to be releasing it only for 1 country, let's say 10% of our users, it should be able to handle concurrently. That is my expectation.
So last thing was UI. I am okay and I'm happy if it's gonna be in a green color. That's it. It's enough.
Correct.
I missed one item, I guess, here, right?
So we kept functionality simple. We only show current state of a balance, and it's gonna be green.
Do you need any graphs?
No.
No. Okay. Yes, now this ticket.
But we do need a login page for that. We need to have
okay.
a login.
So I'm just typing standard. So because if we are showing some balance on some stocks, we already have a product. And therefore, I assume the standard authentication of us should be working. No additional layers, right? Such. Okay.
Correct. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm nodding. Correct.
No problem. No problem. So, yes. So what happened? 3 heads just discussed and made this happen. What usually happens on our side, on my experience, is we usually, while we are designing the ticket, we usually find something which needs to be done to another component or to fix something in current release. So we are parking this ticket. Currently, for keeping the ease of the ticket, we did not run that. But if Saj should have said that the user needs to verify himself, herself, by OTP. And if we don't have any OTP functions running, we should have been developing the OTP layer beforehand of this ticket. So before getting those, we are running this 3 Amigos session with 3 heads, not 3 people, 3 heads. Then we are building the function, or we are putting the ticket to frozen or needs attention, whatever the squad is running. And therefore, we are not reducing, or we are not threatening our process line with those kind of tickets with this 3 Amigos session. What I wanted to show is this, basically. And there are other stuff that we are running. As I mentioned before, we are trying to be consistent about this. We are currently also creating our testing strategy, but what we are following is the scheme. And we are headed to risk-based testing in my current squad. We already defined our definition of, so let me focus here. So we already designed our definition of done and ready. We decided how to automate things. We are trying to break every backlog item in weekly events. We are trying to publish lessons learned report, and we developed some severity level reports, and we are taking out value enhancement opportunities from that to fix our development pipeline. And I'm currently after now the research process, which is experiment that I defined before, but we have time for that. And this is really hard to resemble, let's say, without a current tangible product. Therefore, if you can come with your current squads, we can try to put definitions of, so we can try to create the possible and the most optimal pipeline. We can try to create definitions, objectives for 3 different types of quality metrics or topics. And we can try to set the test management items and the initiatives for that together, if you like.
All right. Am I guessing it's part of my role? Therefore, one of them would be security and of everything around the security. How many times do I have problem of people logging in? And was there any security breaches? That's probably going to be one thing, or actually it's 2 different things, sorry. Then basically I would check how many times people see an empty page without any information there. It's going to be on a silent functionality. And then I would check, do we have any performance related issues? And is there any time that people need to wait more than 3 seconds to see their balance?
Yes.
Will it work?
And then, Dennis, the most
Yes.
important part again is if any bug revealed in production, or if you find anything even before the customers return to you, you should be fixing that within the process of testing or building or 3 Amigos or whatever.
Something like amount of found bug per sprint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main idea. So the progressiveness is the problem over there. So after the release, everything you are doing is an experiment. And if you find something even before the customer, it's value enhancement. And if you find it before you release, it's process enhancement. To avoid any similar mistake, you need to report that and fix that within the process if it is a process thing. So what I'm trying to say, if you find something failing after your tests, or after your test results, there should be something to fix within the process, which means that you may lack a test scenario. You may lack an info from the product side. Let's say that you revealed some kind of new customer type, which is causing the trouble. So that you need to fix all of these. And you need to report it to the team. That's all. Yeah.
Cool. I hope to see my feature released soon.
That's up to you. If you can provide some resource, we can release it today.
Cool. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. I'm really thankful for you to provide me this stage. I hope you enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed. And if any requests upon a hands-on session next week, I'm ready. We can even be better with the team friends.
Cool. Thank you very much again, Tunç. And I would like to thank all the participants. Thanks to the volunteers, especially, sincerely. And yeah, have a nice evening. And yeah, ciao.
Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye-bye.